So this will be the first installment of a new segment called 5 Minute Film Study that we'll be doing to provide deeper analysis on players throughout a game, in particular over a 5 minute stretch within a game. So a lot of times highlights do a great job of kind of giving a introduction, an overview of strengths of players, and those have a ton of value to college coaches, to uh, players, to AAU programs, and they give you a great introductory overview. But there is a deeper level of understanding a player, and you really shouldn't find many college coaches who will be serious about uh, you as a player without actually seeing you play 5 on 5, because there's a level of movement and IQ and consistency with energy and effort that you can't always see that impact just through highlights alone. So these segments will feature player or multiple players, sometimes teams, and will aim to kind of give uh, just kind of a tracking of that player throughout those segments. So the plan has been to have this first one come out for whoever won Mr. Basketball in Illinois. And this year's winner was Brock Harding, and very well-deserved honor for a player who led his team to the state championship in 4A. Had a terrific career with Moline, all-time leading scorer there. Was great AAU-wise with mid-pro, one of the better programs in the Midwest, and has really shined for them since he was a freshman. He'll be heading to Iowa next year, and the games we'll be looking at are Downers Grove North in the state semifinal, and then Oswego East in the super sectional. So, one thing that really stands out about Brock is his ability to create off the dribble. There's a level of creativity, high IQ, and really just pace. I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but the way that he brings the ball up, the way that he changes speeds, makes him very difficult to guard and makes him a great pick and roll player. So we'll see here against Oswego East, high ball screen. You'll see attacks really early on this. Gonna have a lane. We're gonna see a little bit of help defense there. Keeps his dribble alive, and then he's gonna dump it off to Trey Taylor for a layup. So, when you look at as a point guard, right? He's going baseline here. He's got a shooter in Grant Welch, who's a very high percentage three-point shooter. That would have been a good look. There's not really anything wrong with that kick out. But he gets up, and that's that creativity. Probably could have had a layup there, but dumped it off to a sophomore big, gave him a layup, got him going. And that's just a great example of some of the stuff that he brings. There's a transition three. Not the best transition defense there. For us, we go east side. If Mekhi Lowry hits that shot consistently, once he gets to Townsend, he's going to have a great career there, and I think he'll be making some money after college is over with. So we see again here, going to end up getting tipped, but pretty solid entry pass. Going to see an inbounds play here. They're just going to throw it up to Freeman. So, for Moline, obviously one of the best two-man games in the entire state. You really got to see that in the state tournament, but they had games against Simeon, Vashon, who's a very good program, and there's just a level of togetherness between Freeman and Harding that really stood out throughout the season. So that's a nice little slip play there. So, not necessarily an action that Brock was involved in, but they ran this pin down set a couple times in this game and kind of throughout the season. Just quick, get one of their shooters, either Brock or Grant Welch, coming off of this pin down. They spray out because it's scouting report, trying to get a corner three there, and then that's a good slip to get a layup with the foul. So we see Harding picking up full court here. So defensively, one thing we really want to focus on during this is I think an area where he's going to be knocked going into college is going to be on the defensive end. For one, because he's not the tallest of guards. I think he's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. I think he's put in time to get a stronger lower body, and he's fairly explosive as well. But again, height wise, he's not the tallest. So one thing that I think he's got to get a little bit better at on defense is not getting as lost and not gambling as much. So here we see Bryce Shoto, solid point guard for Oswego East. He's going to get a little bit of a clear out here. And then you see when he gets around the elbow, it's just going to be really short and quick start and stop. Just to get Harding off balance. See, he gambles a little bit, kind of pops up, doesn't stay in a stance, gives up a layup there. And again, he's plenty athletic enough to make plays on the defensive end. And with how hard he works, I'm not concerned about that being a long-term issue. It's a really good pass. This was a game where Trey Taylor had a very huge impact as only a sophomore. He's going to be a really good player for Moline over the next couple of years with that core with Braden Freeman. You got a couple really promising freshmen as well who are on the sophomore team. And so far, so these few possessions, at this point, the game was 30-22 in Oswego East's favor. They were getting a lot of early offense. Moline was kind of struggling to get consistent stops. But if you notice from a control standpoint with the ball, as this goes on for this Oswego East game, the way that Harding starts to really control the game. So here's a nice pin down. It's a good-looking three-point shot. So this is an action Moline runs a ton. Again, just small details here. He comes off it's a full sprint. It's not a jog. He's not looking to get out to an area where he's going to be outside of scoring range. Welch just gives a little away screen here. There's no help on that. Just steps into a three. Very good three-point shooter. Pretty solid shooting on the move. Good ball handler who can create space off of that. But the three-point shot is definitely his strength in terms of scoring. And then there's a foul. So this is another example, right? So we see kick out. So at this point, solid defense. Ogburn's going out to close out. He was their best defender, one of the better defenders in the state. Doesn't always get the credit for it, but there he got beat a little bit off the dribble, and we saw Brock kind of go in to kind of, go for a steal on that. Not a bad play. He actually created a ton of turnovers throughout the year with that aggressiveness, and with Ogburn usually taking that kind of top guy on the other team, he did get to play that roamer role. So I do know from what I've seen in AAU, he is capable of getting in a stance and guarding. But that is one thing that consistently he'll have to do to really be successful in his time at Iowa. So here we see he kind of reaches there too. Owen really helps him. And then this is where he really shines. No look pass in transition. And I want, as you guys are watching this, look at all the times just in this. Again, this is why we're doing it 5 minutes straight. So it's not a picking and choosing kind of the clips that look great. But watch how many times he creates shots for guys. So this is an outlet pass. It's a 2-on-1. Perfectly timed, no look. He's going to get to the free throw line. Could have easily been a made layup or an and one had defender not gotten a hand on that. So that's already, one time in these clips that he's making a simple play, but is getting the guy the ball right where he needs to right on time. So Oswego bringing it up now. So we see Brock's away from the ball. He's guarding Shoto, who can hit the three, but he should have enough time to recover to get a contest on that. Could maybe be a little bit more midline on this as the ball is being driven. Doesn't really have any weak side help, though. Now again, out in transition. If you watch, every time he gets out in the break, his head is immediately up towards the rim. He's looking for cutters. He's looking for shooters. So that's another one, right? In the stats, that's not an assist. In the stats, that's not anything that he's going to get credit for. But the timing and the vision to get Ogburn the ball to a point where he's going to get a layup attempt, even if Jacek blocks it, that's still quality offense. That's what you want out of your point guard. We got to remember in 6 to 8 months, that pass is probably going to be to a 6'6", 6'5" wing who's probably going to be able to get above the rim on that. All right, so now they get it in on an inbounds. And here is probably the best two-man game in the state this season. I don't really have a ton of doubt on that. I think there was some good ones throughout the state, but this one to me was the most lethal and consistent. It's a good job using his lower half to set the screen on Freeman's end. And then that's just a great pass. So you're going to see a lot of this at Iowa. That's great basketball. So good spacing for the guys in the wing. Can't see the guy right now who's on the right wing, but good spacing there. Just a slight hesitation here that makes it look like he could be getting into his pull-up, and we'll see against the Downers Grove team him make plenty of these. It's a nice shot fake, dumps it off. They're going to get a blocking foul here. Again, even if that's a charge, as a point guard, that's exactly where the ball needs to go, and that's exactly the pace that he needs to be playing with. So, again, hits the free throws. So that's 3 already in what's been about a couple minutes that he's already given guys chances at the rim that are high percentage shots. Just off of his playmaking ability alone. So we see he didn't get up too much this game in terms of full court pressure. So this would be a case where, again, when you're in high school and you have different roles, it's not always necessarily the easiest thing to exert two-way energy all the time. So it's a 2-point game right now, but I know for a fact that he is athletic enough and he is quick enough to stay in front of the ball here. Shoto is a good penetrator, but to me that's a little bit too easy. And then he gets his own rebound. Got to be more swarming around the basketball there to go try to get that. Really quick jump ball call as well. But again, just small thing on the defensive end. Staying in front of the ball. Big Ten guards are going to look to attack him right away, as they do with most freshmen anyway. So from day one, that's got to be something that I think he's got to try to be able to hang his hat on. Even if he's not an elite on-ball defender at the college level, just being at the point where they're going to have to work to try to get a shot against you. Just a little bit of motion. One of the longer possessions Oswego has had this game. And then again, out to the races. So we see we got 2 guys back here. So he's got kind of a step on Ryan right now. Another pass. So that's the 4th one, right? He gets the basketball and his head's up. He's trying to get a layup. If he can't get a layup, as we'll see in that Downers Grove game, he's more than comfortable getting a shot off this for himself. Has good range, good balance. But he got that ball out quick, and now here's Taylor back at the free throw line. 4th time he got a shot around the paint, out of transition, keeping his head up, throwing the ball on time, on target. So probably have about a minute left of this game, and then we'll go to the Downers Grove game. It's a good 3 shot for Mackay. So one of the things I really love about Brock Harding's game is he is actually a coach on the floor, and I know that gets thrown around a lot when you talk about point guards, really at any level. Just because you play the point guard position does not mean you know how to command an offense, and Brock Harding is excellent at that. So gets the ball up, working it around. So Again, this is a small thing. Like I said, they did a ton of pin downs into slips, pin downs into post ups. So here we're going to have Freeman to Freeman. Younger one, Braden's going to be coming out to the corner. Just watch Brock's eyes, right? So this is not going to result in a layup, but it's about understanding of what you're looking for. So here's a pin down, right? He's open on the pin down, but you see how he doesn't throw it right away. The reason is obviously you got your 6'11" star post player down there who had an opportunity, right? He was going to potentially be able to get, and if we look at this again, it would have been a tough entry pass because Ryan Johnson's also about 6'6", so they could have sandwiched that. So this is a good decision to draw it out and get something else going. Here, again, one of the best that there is in the state at coming off ball screens and using them. So we're going to see a slight snake when he comes off this. This is a shot that he was great at all season. So just that little snake off the ball screen. And then we'll get right to the Downers Grove game. That three-point shot right there, as we'll see in about 20 seconds, is a shot that was lethal in the state tournament. He went for over 20 in both of those games. And is a shot that, with the way that a lot of teams of the Big Ten guard, if he's able to really operate off of the ball screens and he can elevate up as quick as he has been doing, I think he's going to be able to be at a bare minimum, respectable scorer, if not one that can really get going if defenses are going to just play him as a playmaker. So this Downers Grove game, we talked about a lot of creation, about 4 or 5 plays just in that 5 minutes against Oswego East in that second quarter, where he basically got guys shots, got them to the free throw line, got them layups. Really what you love to see out of a point guard. You're going to see the scoring side more in this state semifinal. So red flag number one from a defensive standpoint, if Brock is going off the basketball to start the game, it's probably going to be some type of set involving him either as a decoy or as a guy who's supposed to get a shot. So we see it's basically a initial baseline screen here. Then they're getting another one right back for Freeman to try to get him a post touch, right? So he gets it here right now. Now, Downers Grove was a excellent defensive team throughout the season, very disciplined. Coach Thomas always does a good job of getting these guys to be kind of at their peak by the end of the season. So he's down there one-on-one with Jake Reamer right now. They get it out. High ball screen comes. Rejects it into the three. So like I said in that last clip against Oswego East, the quickness that he gets into his shot is really the benefit. He's not tall. He's not really that long for a point guard. But the game plan is going to be, I don't want to get beat by the Freeman Harding pick and roll against any team they played this year, right? So Thulin takes one step up. He attacks opposite. It's a good read to reject that. And then he hits that three from the college line without a problem. So, again, we'll watch on the defensive end kind of the willingness to stay in a stance and kind of be solid, because when he is, I think he's a very effective defender. So here we see he gets a little bit lost. So, yes, they went about a half court kind of token press into man-to-man. Not enough communication from these top three to kind of communicate that out. I think that's Taylor Welch and Brock there. They are going to leave a shooter wide open in the corner. Again, first possession of the game, you do get saved there by 6'11" athletic Owen Freeman. But got to be a little bit better communication. And then we're going to get a travel car early. Again, that happens. There's not really a lot of point guards that can make the type of plays that Brock Harding makes. Yes, sometimes he can be a little bit sped up. But with a player that is the type of creator that he is, as a coach, I would love for those to get reduced, but at the same time, you don't want to take away the freedom that makes him so special as a passer. So something like that, especially 30 seconds into the game, is not really something I'm going to lose sleep over. I thought Jasper Ogburn did a really solid job on Jack Stanton this game. It's a very difficult task to have with how well he comes off screens. he may be one of the best guards in the state from day one next year. I think by the end of the year, people realize how good he was, but he's been that. So I thought Jasper Ogburn did a really good job this year or this game guarding him. So we see a little bit of motion. There's a kick out there. It's not really his game to shoot that. So they're moving it around. It's a little floater. Not the easiest shot, but it is still going to stay here. So they got the ball in to Freeman right away. Again, it's not really Ogburn's game. So he puts it on the ground, another floater, and he knocks that one down. So 5-2 to start. Again, they kind of started in this kind of 1-2-2 look to start. Picked up at half, dropped into man-to-man after that first pass. So a little bit of scramble. Again, Downers Grove North is a great shooting team, so there's kind of a risk reward there, trying to slow them up so they couldn't get into their stuff early. This is a scenario where this is a good job running a terrific three-point shooter off the line, but not necessarily the right angle. So when he starts to get downhill, I think Brock stays too much on his hip, and Jack, being the smart player he is, tries to cut into him, forces this help, and now Max Hack's going to get a wide open three in the corner. And again, just you save the dribble penetration, do your job in the one-on-one, and then maybe Grant doesn't have to come over to help. But I think that kind of evened it up. I think it should be 5-5 or 5-3. All right, we get that same cross screen. So this is just a generic cross screen, down screen action. Excellent screen. Excellent screen. They sunk a little bit too much, so this should have been, I think, Miller jumping up higher here. But it's a great screen by Trey Taylor. Exact same type of action that Stanton scored on before. So this is just a very generic cross screen, down screen. Again, full sprint. He gets low coming off the screen. No wasted movement into his shot. Obviously, you leave a guy like this wide open, it's going to be bottoms most of the time. But again, this is a guy who can catch fire from the three-point line as well as he can as a playmaker. You see he's got a little bit of extra pep in his step after making some shots here. It's another three-point look. Again, Downers Grove didn't shoot it as well as they typically did from three. Credit that to Moline's defense as well with their discipline. This is just ridiculous. So, again, we talked about how he's always looking up. So that's the one thing about why he's such a good point guard. He's not looking up to pass. He's not looking up to shoot. He's looking up to make the right decision. So here, Ogburn's kind of open on the wing. Nobody stops the basketball, though. And he's feeling it. That's not really enough of a contest to affect somebody who's shooting that well. And that's just a difficult shot. That's a next level shot. That's a shot that a Big Ten guard would make. But again, that's the reads. That's the understanding. So again, defensively off of this is off a made shot. They still looked a little bit confused in terms of who was guarding who. Again, didn't lead to points in this game, but that is something communication-wise. I know it's a different setting because you are playing in that packed arena, but kind of just picking that up earlier so they don't get this drive and kick three that I know they didn't make, but just trying to limit that because I really believe with the returners, the people Iowa has coming back, if Brock Harding's able to be at least a serviceable defender, I think he's really going to have a good chance to get some minutes next year. So this is a case where a little bit too nonchalant, right? So not the best angle. This is just a camera angle we got. You're going to see this is just a high post entry. You got Jack Stanton in the corner. So again, it's like Brock Harding's a smart player. Stanton is as well. Freeman didn't really see him from behind. These horn actions can be tough if you don't have enough space and you don't have necessarily guys that they're going to stick to in the corner. So here Stanton just jumps it and gets a steal off of this. He gets some more points on the board. So again, that's the type of stuff just comes with time. I think even veteran point guards at the college level will get nonchalant every now and then with that type of stuff. So that's good basketball right there. Again, this is more so talking about Harding, but I think Owen Freeman's been the best center in this class for a while. And I think everyone knows he's a terrific low post player, but the passing and the shooting ability goes underrated. This is a very difficult pass. So he hits him at the perfect spot to where he's not necessarily going to run the guy over, but still at a point where they can get something going. So he misses a three there. That's a shot that I think Owen Freeman's going to be able to hit with time. So it's 11-5 right now. You see Ogburn doing a good job on the basketball there. Harding's in a pretty good spot. Again, like to see him jump to the ball a little bit more when it moves. I think that was a couple passes and kind of still in that same sandbox. A lot of good shooters on DGN, so I understand that, but a little bit more activity off the ball, kind of seeing it and moving to that help line. So that's one thing you don't want to do against Downers Grove. He missed that one, but that's not a player in the state that you would really want to give much space. And then so at this point, I don't think anybody in the gym would have had to answer defensively for this. So again, missed shot, transition. You see in the pattern, when Harding gets the ball in transition, he's one of the best playmakers in transition that the state had this season. Just going to see a little bit, not a true drag screen, just kind of defaults into one from Trey Taylor. But he uses it. It's not even a bad hedge. Obviously, at that point, after he's hit two or three, maybe a blitz would have at least made him get to the rim. But, I mean, that's a fairly contested 18, 19-footer. So at this point, I think 13-5. He's already hit 4 shots this game. Good job getting underneath that screen. But see, to me, they're going to get a 3 here. To me, this is still a situation where I feel like this is more angles than it even is effort. Like when he starts going downhill, this is almost too much of an open up, and Thulin's a heady guard as well, so he's got a good first step. Should be able to play college football somewhere. So it's not like this is a under-level athlete or something. Like this is a quick, athletic guard. Then he leaves his feet there, and that kind of forces that extra help. Good recovery by Trey Taylor there to kind of get back into play. But again, just defensively, Harding has the capabilities of it, like I've said. It's just going to be a matter of applying that on a consistent basis. Here we go in transition again. So let's watch the eyes, watch what he's looking for when he's starting to attack. So we're going to see another high ball screen. Look at where George Walco's at right now. When he comes off of this screen, if Stanton doesn't come over to help, this is going to be a wide open shot coming off of this. So he started to get downhill, didn't actually kill them as much. That was a good job by Max Hack kind of stepping over to try to stop the ball. Lisa made him put it on the ground. He kicks it out, no charge call. We're back into a ball screen, right? Now this is a very difficult shot. This would be one just because of how tight he's being played. He is obviously incredibly hot at this point of the game. If he could put it on the ground one more time, draw Wolko over a little bit more, and Freeman's very good out of the short roll, he could just hit him here and let a two-man game kind of work on that side. But it's going to work out anyway. He's going to get to the free throw line. Again, when you shoot the basketball like that, there's going to be guys who end up getting a little bit too close. Overall, I think Brock Harding is a player who's going to have a chance to play right away at Iowa. But more importantly, just in terms of watching quality basketball, to see a player who's maybe not the tallest have the impact that he had, not just this year. I mean, he has been this for 4 years. He did that for mid-pro. Like I said, that is one of the best AAU programs overall in the Midwest, not just independent. They churn out a ton of high-caliber kids and a lot of players that really do things at the next level. But overall, throughout the state, I think there was still a lot of people who didn't really know about him too much, hadn't really seen him. and they were over for the June shootouts and everything like that. And it was great to kind of see him and Freeman work together, and that whole team kind of come from the Quad Cities and make the impact that they did at the state tournament. And I think there's a ton of parity throughout the state now when it comes to quality basketball, and I think that just makes everybody else get better. So, Brock Harding, this year's Player of the Year, Mr. Basketball, well deserved. Best of luck to him at Iowa. And honestly, anytime you get a chance to see, local kids, even if it's not Chicago area, but someone to represent the state like he's doing, like Freeman's doing at Iowa, um, can only hope the best for those guys. So uh, that's it for this week. Again, this is the first installment of it. Had to do it for the Mr. Basketball. Plan to do more in future weeks. Again, this won't be for everybody, but from a basketball analysis standpoint, love to get in depth on film. Kind of just look at the various areas of where players can get better, kind of the things that make them special.